This month's Chelsea Chamber Business Spotlight shines on Chelsea Family Pharmacy. Servicing our community for over 12 years at 600 Walnut Street, Joe, Wendy, and the team offer fast, friendly service and are now helping Medicare patients with coverage support. Plus, all Vera Bradley products are 60% off, perfect for a gift or even a treat. Stop by or call 918-789-2241 to experience care you can count on. Chelsea Family Pharmacy, where community and care come together. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Center Stage Community Podcast, where we give the community the center stage. I'm your host, Justin McCall, with my co-host, Cynthia Sanders Masherini. Hey, Cynthia.
Hey, Justin. How are you today?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good.
I'm excited for today. We have an awesome couple that we're going to be interviewing where they have an awesome story where God moved mightily in their life, and I'm really looking forward to it. How about you?
Oh, yeah, me too. I can't wait to hear about it.
It's going to be exciting.
Yes.
I need to remind everybody that Center Stage Community Podcast is brought to you by InsureBoss. InsureBoss, we have two locations, one in Chelsea, right next to the busiest place in all of Chelsea, the post office, and in a location right next to or right behind Harbor Coffee in Ugal. In Ugal, we go by the name of Chalkline Insurance Agency, and in Chelsea, we go by Route 66 Insurance. And remember that InsureBoss is insurance you need with the coverage that you expect. So,
coverage you expect, huh?
yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Can I ask the InsureBoss a question?
I would love for you to ask the InsureBoss a question.
So something that I've been wondering is about deductibles.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I've noticed that every year my deductible goes up just a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it creates my mortgage to go a little higher too. And so I just was wondering why.
So what you have going on is, especially with Wind and Hill. So you have a deductible for Wind and Hill, specifically with most homeowners policies. Well, I would say the Wind and Hill is the number one cause of loss here in Oklahoma. Have you noticed the storms we've been having lately? Can you imagine?
Could you miss it?
That's pretty good. No, I guess you can't. So Wind and Hill, like I said, is the number one cause of loss here in Oklahoma. And what has happened is insurance companies are putting a little bit more of the responsibility on claims back into the insurer's lap, because if they don't, then they will not be able to stay viable. So believe it or not, when I first started writing insurance policies back in 2010, deductibles across the board for everything, including Wind and Hail, was $500. Then we had the tornadoes that happened over by Oklahoma City, and we had the one in Joplin. We had the crazy windstorms that we had over the last several years, including record numbers of tornadoes and storms. And insurance companies have been, over the years, increasing those deductibles from $500. It went to $1,000. It went to 1% wind and hail, 1% of the dwelling limit. And now,
wait, 1% of the dwelling limit.
Yeah. So if you have a house that has $400,000 in coverage, that's your coverage limit.
Yes.
1% of that would be $4,000. So your wind and hail deductible would be $4,000. But right now, we're seeing insurers anywhere between 1.5% to 2% wind and hail deductible. So if you have a house that's $400,000 and your wind and hail deductible is $2,000, you're probably going to pay for your roof on your own, more than likely.
So in those instances, sometimes it could be cheaper for someone not to use their insurance.
In some cases, yeah. So what we do normally in our agency is, if we have somebody, depending on the situation, if we have somebody who calls and say, Justin, I have water coming in my house, my roof is gone. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's file a claim. But if I have somebody that comes that gives me a call and says, hey, Justin, I had a roofing company that is repairing my neighbor's house, and they told me that I have hail damage and wind damage, and I need to file a claim too. I say, let's talk to somebody else first before we go ahead and file a claim, just to make sure that we're getting good, accurate information. And then we can make an educated decision based upon your policy, what it covers, and your deductible, whether or not it's worth you filing the claim. Because I don't want somebody filing a claim expecting to get a new roof, and then the adjuster comes out there and says, there's not enough damage here for us to pay for the total loss of your roof, which happens a lot, especially when you get these devastating storms where a lot of people are getting a roof replacement, but the people on the outskirts of where the major damage was are being told they need new roofs, but they really don't. Huh. So, yeah. So it's always good to make sure that you talk to your agent before you actually go to file a claim, unless there's obvious damage where you need to go ahead and move forward with the claim.
That's where you want to have a really good insurance agent.
Well, thank you. Are you saying I'm a really good insurance?
I'm saying you want someone that looks out for your best interest.
Absolutely, yes, ma'am. And especially in today's world, there's a lot of people that are they're not out to get you, but they're out to do what's best for them. And so it's always good to have somebody who has your back. So
I agree.
We strive to do that. Again, locations are in Oologah and in Chelsea. You can reach us at 918-789-3848, 918-789-3848. We hope to talk with you soon. Okay, now let's move on to our guest.
All right.
I'm excited. So today we have a very special couple that live here in the town of Chelsea. Very active community members in more than one capacity. When I say their names, you're going to know them right off the bat. So I'd like to introduce our guests, Ryan and Alyssa Floyd. Hey, guys.
Hello.
How are you?
Welcome.
Doing good. I'm doing good. Are you doing good, Ryan?
I'm doing pretty good. I got pulled into this. But I'm doing great.
Ryan wasn't expecting it.
No, he showed up and it was just supposed to be Alyssa. And I was like, are you sure you don't want to be a part of this podcast?
I was just the chauffeur.
The driver.
But now I'm here.
Yeah, you're still the chauffeur, right? Well, I am really happy that you guys have come on board. I'm really excited to dive into your story because I know that it isn't a story that is just particular to you guys. I know that there's a lot of people out there that have been through this or are going through this that need to hear your story and how you guys dealt with it, how you overcame it, and how it affected your life, but also in the positive light as well. So we're excited to hear all about that. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's talk about the beginning. How did you guys meet? How did you get together? How did that start?
You want to tell this one?
I can. We actually were both communication majors at RSU, and we had a few classes together, but one class in particular. I believe you didn't have your book. Is that correct?
I forgot my book.
Oh, yeah. She forgot her.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
I wanted her to admit that, but and so our professor asked if there was anyone that would share their book, and I
He
shot
made it
my
there pretty
hand up.
quick.
Yeah,
Pretty quick he was up there.
and so that's how that started.
Wow. Yeah.
And
But then we didn't start dating for like another year or so, I think. But
Yeah.
so this all started with a book.
All started with the book.
exactly.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So how long between then and when did you guys get married?
We dated for like 2.5 years, and then I was like, it's time. Let's get married.
Yeah.
You can ask me between this frame and this frame.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it was very specific. It was, if you don't ask me by this day, like I'm done with you.
Could have been bluffing, but we'll never know.
Yeah, he won't.
So I had to make sure.
Yeah, and that's history, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So, about what year did you guys get married?
We got married in 2012.
2012. Okay. And what took place after that? Were you like, let's wait to have a family, or were we like, no, let's go ahead and move forward with that?
Yeah, we had already talked about that, and we were like, we've been dating for 2.5 years. Like, we'd went out and traveled and done a lot of eating and a lot of concerts, things like that. And then, so we felt like we were ready to jump into that next step. I think you were.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we were ready to have a family.
Yeah.
Pretty much from the beginning.
Yeah. So that was something that both of you wanted. It was something that you desired. It was a desire of your heart, I guess. Is what I'm
Yeah,
trying to
for
say.
sure. And
Okay.
we talked about that before we got married. So
Okay. So then, how long did it take for you to realize that something not right here? Something's missing.
well, we tried for a few months. We're like, that's okay. We weren't really worried. And then it got to be like 6 months, and I started telling him, like, I feel like it should be easier than this. Like, at the time, I don't think we really knew.
You didn't even realize that was...
And we didn't know really anyone, I don't think, who had shared a story of having a hard time starting a family. And so probably like 6 months in, we start talking about, I start telling him, maybe we should go to the doctor. And I think he was more like, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
When that initial conversation happens, when she asks you about going to the doctor, like for you, was it kind of like, I don't even want to go there?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I feel like I'm always kind of overly optimistic about things. And so it was never. I don't know. I don't think I ever really thought like, well, we don't need to take that step.
Yeah.
You know?
You're like, surely not.
It's like, we're fine.
Yeah.
You know, you know, just the idea of like, you know, well, sometimes maybe these things take time. Like, we're fine. And
we were young. Like, we weren't
Yeah.
overly. It's like, it's fine, you know. But then we got to like the year mark, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to the doctor. You know, we'll see what they say, and then if we need, you know, if we can't figure out something there, then maybe you could go. So, and that's like that first year is when we really started rolling with that. And I went and saw like my general doctor and started talking to them about what could maybe be preventing us from getting things rolling.
Yeah.
And so what was their initial like thoughts as far as what the doctor said when you were first going?
Well, the first thing they told me was that I had a tilted uterus, and so they said that can make things harder. And then I also had endometriosis, which was a real big one for me, and so they recommended that we maybe take care of that. But even after leaving that initial appointment, I was like, okay, well, so we kind of know. Like, I feel like those aren't big things, maybe. So we're like, we'll just
It's
keep
not a
trucking
definite
along.
no.
Right, yeah,
yeah,
so-
with that, yeah.
We left there. I mean, we just went a few more years of like, okay, God's got this. We're going to do all right.
So early on, it sounds like you just continued to have that hope and that positivity,
Yeah.
that optimism,
Yeah.
you know, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and I knew God had called me to be a mom, so I knew I was going to be a mom in one way or another, but we were really believing that it was going to happen naturally for us.
So explain a little bit more to us about that. You say God had called you, or told you were going to be a mom. So
Yeah, I mean, I never remember a time in my, you know, adult life not wanting to be a mom. That was always, when someone would ask me what I wanted to do, that's what I wanted to do. I mean, I had a million career goals, but being a mom was always part of that. Like, I was going to go do something, but my kid was going to be with me. That was going to be a part of it. So I just felt in my heart, you know, that was a desire of my heart, and I felt, you know, God was going to do that for me.
So were you teaching while you were going through this too?
Not yet. So I didn't start teaching until 2017,
Okay.
I think. So like when we were beginning process of this, I think I was working at Walmart. Actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the childcare.
Yeah, and then I
setting.
did start at the daycare here in town.
Awesome.
So how many years did you guys spend trying, and how long was that process for you guys?
I think total, was it 8 years? That
8 years total before we had Anison.
Before we had Anison, yeah, and there were so many markers of like this appointment and this appointment and this appointment that where it would be like you'd get one little answer or, you know,
One
Right.
step closer.
one step, and exactly, and so then we would kind of run with that for a while.
But it was
Yeah.
If that makes any
2017, I
sense.
think, when we moved on to the fertility doctor, which we'd kind of been avoiding at that time. I just never felt like that was our path, but we got to the point where it was like, okay, we're going to go do this. And I think our first appointment lasted like 2 minutes, and it cost us like $400.
That's what I was gonna say. A lot of times, financially, it is
Yeah.
a burden on a family to endeavor on fertility doctors and help.
Yeah,
So-
just the initial start was pretty expensive for us, but I did end up going through them and doing my uterine septum surgery, and then getting the endometriosis taken care of. And I think that was like really all we actually did through
with them.
the fertility doctor, I think.
Yeah, we went through actually 2. I don't want to jump too far ahead in the story, but there were things, you know, on both of our sides that we had to address, and so it was going through processes of, you know, for both of us, like, you know, like you said, actual surgeries, you know, that you went through, and yeah, we did get to a point where, you know, we were sitting across from one of the doctors, and he just flat out said, you know, like, this might just not happen for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he just said, yeah, your only option at this point is going to be in vitro. And if you're not wanting to do that, I mean, it may not happen. And that's when we left there, I was like, we are not doing this because we're not receiving that, and I'm not liking
So take us through that moment when that doctor says that. What goes through your mind? What goes through your heart? What are you feeling? What are you sensing?
Well, I was mad. I don't know about you. I was not pleased when we left there. And he's a little more reserved than me, but I think I made that known in the appointment that I didn't like the language he was using there, essentially.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of the same with me. It was kind of all those things that, you had mentioned. It was like, wow, well, there goes, like, a portion of the hope. I mean, and not that, like, the IVF thing wouldn't, I mean, that's a great option for a lot of people.
It was just not an option that we ever felt led to do or felt comfortable with.
Yeah. And so it was like...
Well, and you're sitting there listening to a doctor speak something over your life that you're not willing to accept that. And,
exactly, yeah.
And that, especially when you have that faith, that I think everybody in this room has, you're speaking that into existence over my life, and I do not receive that.
Yeah, and I was happy because we knew we did not have to receive that. When we left, that's what we said. Well, we don't have to receive that.
Yes.
And I believe that was our last...
That's the last time we went
there.
That is your last appointment there.
Yeah. It was,
yeah.
So you hear that, and it takes just a tiny bit of that hope away, like you said. But we all know that we all serve a big God.
Absolutely,
and,
that's right.
I can see the two of you and your faith. Even when you walk in the door, you just exude this joy and this.
Well, that's the best compliment we could ever give anything. So thank you.
So it's wonderful, and when you said about Ryan and his optimism, it does. Just your personality shines through in that way. So that's amazing. 8 years of this, and then that appointment. Now, I just want to kind of hear a little bit about those 8 years, that in between. Honestly, you guys you're a young couple. You have all these friends that are going through these milestones and having children and moving on and doing all of that. What is that experience like? You want to be joyful for all the people around you that are getting to experience the things that you are so struggling and wanting for and praying for. What is that feeling?
Well, for me, and I don't think we had a lot of friends at the time who were starting families, but my younger siblings both had children. And it was kind of bad and I was happy for them. One of them had her kid just like a year in, and then another a few years later. But for me, it was like everyone was kind of tiptoeing around me with that, like, oh, well, we don't want to tell Alyssa. And so, like, that was interesting for me, too, because there was a sadness about it. And I remember on Mother's Day, they would still leave me gifts because they knew I was so hopeful. But the fact that everyone was kind of scared to share their joy with me was something that was hard. And I was angry at times, but I was never angry or upset or discouraged when other people were starting their families. That was never, I'm like, that's great.
For you, it was actually something you were kind of missing out on, being able to be joyful with them and excited for them, because they're considerate about your feelings,
which I appreciated. Yeah, and that was the big one for me. Like, it's okay. Like, I'm happy for you, and it's going to happen for me. But yeah.
And I think we had, like, at our church, we had a lot of people who did know what we were going through, and they had prayed for us continually and wanted updates, and they were really genuinely concerned. But then you would, here and there, get the people who weren't as familiar with what we were going through, and it was kind of the typical, well, when's it going to be your turn kind of thing? And
you're like, well.
And it's like, how much time do you have to talk? Because we can talk through, when it's going to be our turn.
I always just said God's timing, and they kind of knew that was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So going back to the 8 years and all of that, what she was saying in between. So you get to a place where you decide the IVF isn't working, or is not going to be for you. Kind of tell us what led you down that path. Was it just an internal knowing that that's not going to be the case? Did you pray about it? What was that for you that was kind of that final, this is not for us?
Well, yeah, we definitely, we prayed through this whole process. And I just never felt comfortable. I never felt like that was part of my journey. And I know it's part of a lot of people's journey, and that's wonderful. And there are a lot of babies in the world because people went down that path.
Sure. Yeah.
I never felt comfortable with it. And then I think maybe just our experience with the specific person we had just turned me off to it so much.
There were lots of like little signs too, and I hope I'm not jumping the gun, but like at that particular conference that we went to, that's one of the best stories.
So we were at a conference, a big church guy. I won't say his name, but we were at a conference, and he was saying, if there's a miracle you're believing for, like, speak it out. So I spoke out. I was believing that I was going to be a mom, and at that time, like, I felt the pain in my stomach, and I heard the words, "It's coming." That's the first time I heard the words, "It's coming," and those words came through various ways from various people, strangers, over the course of the next few years. And so
what year was that? When did that happen?
That was probably like 2000.
Maybe 14 or 15?
Yeah, 14 or 15 probably is when I received those words for the first time. And then about 2017, I heard a lady walked up to me at church, which I'd seen her before, but we went to different services, and I hadn't actually met her. And she said, "I really hope that you don't find this too weird, but God really wanted me to come over here and tell you it's coming." And I was like, "I'm glad you told me that,"
Yeah.
So that kept happening over a few years.
So take us back to that conference that you went to. I mean, because that's still it's such a long time, right? Should I call you Abraham and Sarah? I mean,
whoa.
maybe not.
It's been 84 years.
But I mean, just time wise, I know that you guys had been married for a little while, up until that point, and you had been trying. Were you in a place where you were like, "God, I need to hear from you. I got to hear something from you"?
For sure, yeah. And I mean, there were moments of this where things like that would happen, and I would just be all hopeful and stuff again, but do not let me mislead you. I went through like bouts of depression and anger, and it got to the point where there was so much tension between us, because I did get to that point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. And he is the optimistic one, and he never really got there outwardly, even if he was doing that, within himself. But those little moments did kind of, at least it would pull me out of it give me that hope.
So, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up, because I'd like to know, in the midst of all of that was going on, because, I mean, we would be lying to ourselves if we said we never go through situations like that. It happens to us all, right, in our lives with what we care about and what we're believing God for. And faith isn't always 100% steadfast as much as it should be or needs to be, right? So how did that work through your relationship, as far as was it a pulling together, or was it sometimes something that you would have to work through and comfort each other? I mean, kind of go through that with me, if you would.
Probably a little both. Like, there were times that, it kind of like we said, anytime that you got like these little glimmers of, or something that you could be hopeful in, or some sort of reassurance, or because we're talking about an 8 years worth of struggle summarized right now in one conversation. So there was a lot of time, and so there would be little things that you could cling to and that we would get excited about, like when she felt the fluttering in her stomach during that conference, and that was something we could hold on to, and then but in the in between times, there's probably many times that
we didn't want to be in the same room sometimes. He's being nice about it. I mean, there were times where it was really like, I cannot do this anymore. Like, and you can be optimistic if you want, but I'm mad and I just don't know. I mean, I personally went there, and he was very much just like, let me walk away, and then.
Yeah. What is that like, Ryan, to have to, I mean, my husband is the optimist a lot of the time. And I can tell you, I know he carries those burdens silently and encourages me, but I oftentimes don't realize like what inside he's struggling with. But at those moments, you're just focused on her and getting her to see how you see, or to just feel that encouragement. How does that feel though when your wife is like, not right now?
Yeah. It's I think it's kind of like I don't want to say like the stereotypical guy thing, but I think there is something in it of like, oh, there's this problem. Okay, well, let's fix it or figure out a way to fix it.
Yeah.
And then let's keep going. And then, it's like, that's hard when you can't fix it and don't know how to fix it.
Yeah.
But still, like, what's coming out of you is, let's fix it. Let's, like,
it's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay. Like, let's figure this out. Where, like, mentally, it's like, you would say something like that, like, well, I understand this is hard, and, we can either, like, complain about it, or we can just try to fix it. And
at times I was like, we're going to complain about it.
She's like, I'm not ready to not be mad.
And that's the thing. Yeah. And then it's like, in reality, it's like, well, no, maybe let's just complain about it for a while, like, and that's okay. But yeah, I think there's just this thing in me, and it's probably like in a lot of men, where it's like, listen, like, I don't know if we need to sit here and continue to complain or worry about it if it's not going to do anything. Like, let's just, put it to rest for a minute. And then in reality, like, when your wife hears you say that, then it's like, okay, pow, like, that's not the right thing to say.
But Alyssa, honestly, is there anything that is the right thing to say in that moment? Probably not.
No, not really,
Yeah.
I'm glad we got that on camera.
Well, I feel like I totally relate to you in that sense, as far as like when the struggle is just too much. Sometimes there just are not the right words, and you just need to let me feel all of my emotions and be upset. Exactly, and nothing you can say right now is going to fix it. So good luck.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys being so vulnerable in the situation.
And candid about it.
Yeah, because I mean, it's real. It's more than real. I mean, this is life, right? And what a lot of people go through. So the next thing what's the next obstacle that we come to? We decide we're not going through IVF. Then we have something that happens in 2019, I think. So take us through that and what happened there.
So in 2019, about midway through the year, around May, I think, we found out that I was expecting, and we had actually just announced to our family. We were like a week or two away from announcing to everyone. And I started having some issues, and even then I wasn't I wasn't really scared. And I just told him, hey, I'm going to go to the doctor just to see, for peace of mind. And then we left with anything but peace of mind, and they told us that we'd had a miscarriage. So that was just a big setback for us, because at that point I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done with this. Like, I've got to find something else, because this isn't working for me right now.
Because it had become really your primary focus, and like what your mind is just on constantly is I gotta have a baby.
Yeah, I was all consumed with it, and like looking back, like if I could pull myself out of that a little bit quicker than I did, it would have probably helped my mind and body. But yeah, that was in the midst of it. That was it. Everything we'd been trying for, and then it happens for us, and then it doesn't.
So when that happens, and because I'm sure that you find out, you're like so excited, you're planning for the future now. This is finally God answering our prayer. Wow, this is amazing. Thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
And then from there, from that mountain down to the valley, right? So take us down into the valley. What was that like on your end, and then trying to because you said, I just want to make things better. I want to fix this for my wife. I want to move on.
Victory, and then
So then what happens at that moment?
Yeah, that is very much like it was a reflection of, all those bits of hope, and then not like we said in the whole journey where it was like, oh my goodness, this finally happened, and it came at a time, like we said, that when we were like, we're done with the fertility side of things, and so we're just going to keep believing, and then it happens, and it's like, oh my gosh. And then what like kind of kills me the most about it was like all those little things that we had talked about like, this is how we're going to tell our families, like this, like, let's make plans of how we're going to announce this, and what are we going to, how are we going to go through this whole process, and then all of a sudden it's gone.
You're robbed.
Yeah.
It's stolen from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that, and like you said, like, it very much was, like, how do I want to say this? Like, that happens, and then it was like, okay, we're going to try to not think about this. Something that's kind of consumed us for all these years, about constantly trying to make this happen, and then all of a sudden, in this one instance, we're like, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
You're in that grief. It's a grieving, and then you're grieving almost like an end of a journey for you guys. Yeah. Now, tell us about what you turned your focus on, what you redirected your focus on.
Yeah, well, I was already stressed, so I thought I need to find a more productive stress or get myself out of it. No, when we were trying, it was, and when we say all-consuming, without being too personal, everything was timed. There was, we were not a fun
It takes
couple.
away that intimacy.
It was like, it was on a calendar, and we can't go out tonight because this might be a good time, It was literally to the point where it was too much. And so around the first of 2019, even before the miscarriage, I had started praying that, all right, Lord, I need something else to occupy my space. And so we had went out, decided to take a trip. So we went out to North Carolina. There was a restaurant out there that I wanted to go to, and we went to the beach. And it was me and Ryan, my sister, and a couple friends, and we went out there and had a really good time. Actually met the chef at the restaurant that we were going to see. And so on the way back from that trip, my friend said, you know what, you should just cook through her cookbook. And for me, it just immediately felt like a God thing. I was like, okay, yeah, what could occupy my mind for a little while is, definitely a big old cookbook to cook through. And so I started taking that on. And yeah, and then actually when I had my miscarriage, I can remember this vividly because there was 187 recipes, and I was going to get through them in a year. And we were on the 100th recipe. So we were excited. This was a big deal. There was so much to it. And so we were on the 100th recipe, and I'm blogging this. It's out on my Instagram, so everyone's following along with me. And they also know that we're going through infertility and kind of the whole thing, like I've shared that initially. And so we're on the 100th recipe. It's going to be this big deal. I'm going to make this big post about it, And then that day, I'm like, something's not right. And so we go to the doctor and find out that I've had the miscarriage. And we get in the car, we're both upset. We get mad for a little bit. We're crying. And then I just looked at him and I said, well, we're already going to the grocery store. So we're going to go. We're going to go get the stuff. We are going to do this 100th recipe. I did not share that at the time on my blog, I don't think. But we just went and did it anyway because at the time it was just something that I could control. I was like, I can't control this. I'm mad. Nothing's going to change it. I may as well go. And in retrospect, probably not what I should have been doing after what my body had went through and where my mind was. But in that moment, that's what I did. And I put out my 100th recipe post, and I just...
And people unknowing...
No idea.
That you were experiencing something so devastating.
Yeah.
And still cooking.
Yeah, cooking was it for me,
So she's cooking. She's all these recipes and How's that affect you
Yeah,
over there, Ryan?
Yeah. Well, as we were joking earlier, I gained a lot of weight. And I washed a lot of dishes. And like I say this a lot to people, like she won't brag on herself the way she should brag on herself, but
Right.
I will.
Oh, so do that. Yeah.
And so when we say cookbook, it was a cookbook called Deep Run Roots, and it's not like your stereotypical like little cute cookbook that has a recipe for mac and cheese in it. It's like an encyclopedia, and and they're I would be hard pressed to say that anyone has probably made 2 recipes out of this thing, let alone all nearly 200.
Oh, wow.
I mean, when you pray, God is going to do it big for you.
Okay.
Because
He's like, here you go.
because some of the story, we have so many stories from this, but there was a particular cake in that cookbook that literally takes 3 days to make.
Yes, and we about burnt our kitchen down. I
Oh,
think.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so, and I'm not saying like, oh, like you do this and then you wait a day. It like is a 3-day process of making this one
We
cake.
ate a lot of meals at midnight.
Yes. And
This obviously was not, we did not have our child yet.
yes. Yeah. And so, so when we say occupy our minds, these recipes and going through this there was so much process that led up to the cooking part of it.
Yeah.
And it was, finding ingredients like we had spoke about earlier off camera. We had ordered and actually flew in like live crabs, soft shell crabs. Which actually, the funny thing about that story was when we went to pick them up, they had asked, when I had talked to the folks on the phone, they're like, "Do you want these prepared?" And I'm like, "What does that mean?" And they're like, "Well, prepared means that they are," and they're trying to be like really politically correct. They're like, "Prepared means that they are no longer living, and so you have to keep them on ice." And like, mind you, these are coming in on a plane, and so we're like, okay, we'll get there. We're like an hour away from Tulsa. Like, we'll pick them up, we'll put them on ice, and so we do that. We rush back to here to Chelsea to get them in the kitchen, and we go to start prepping, and we had them setting on this plate,
Yeah.
and then they start
Crawling away.
crawling and moving.
So you opted for not prepared.
Yes,
And you guys were like, I'll kill him.
yeah,
It's fine.
we did not know that was going to happen. In fact, I was like,
They're supposed to
these
be
were
frozen.
supposed to be dead. And so,
But there was a lot of stuff like that throughout it,
yeah,
and
so many
and
stories.
I got such a community.
Oh,
through,
yeah.
I mean, the author of the book, Vivian Howard, she kind of mentored me through that and probably helped me process. She didn't even realize what she was helping me process
Wow.
at the time, and I've since been able to share that with her. But I had such a community within that when I started sharing my story about infertility and things. I mean, I was able to minister to people. People were able to minister to me. I mean, I think that was even better than.
It sounds like God. There's a scripture that I like to reference when I talk about Tyler's story,
Right.
because there's a lot of things I've learned over the years. There's a lot of things, hardly anything actually, that you can control in your life,
Ooh,
right?
yeah.
So true.
And there's a lot of things that come against you, a lot of things that you have to walk through, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a scripture, Romans 8:28. God uses all things or works all things for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. So the good thing is that you don't have to control things. You can just trust.
Right.
And through Tyler's story, that's something, and even through the stuff I go through today, it's like, God's like, do you trust me with this? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Do you trust me with that? Oh, good.
Yeah.
But you don't trust me with that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah.
But it sounds like that God worked in your guys' life, the cookbook and everything, to bring you guys even closer together, and then
Yeah.
also connect you to a community of people that would be there to support you and love you and walk through stuff with you.
Yeah, and I think that was a totally unexpected part of that was. I mean, when I
who would've
started
thought,
it,
right?
yeah,
Who
and
would
when
have thought?
Yeah, and when I started it, I was just like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to blog about it and stuff, mostly for me, so that's a process, and I have, I'm having to cook the
Something to look
recipes
back
and
on.
write about them, and do all these things. And when everything else started to come in, once again, that's when I'm just like, this is God. This has to be God, because this does not happen any other way. It just didn't make sense that it would all come about the way it did.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
It's pretty crazy. And yeah, you literally did build a community around this, and it's, I don't know, it's so wild. Again, like, it's almost hard to. It almost sounds like you're like, when you say I cook through a cookbook, that almost seems like you couldn't really grasp like what all that meant. And I mean, like, one of the favorite stories about getting the muscadines in the gas station, like, you can tell that, like, there are people who were supporting.
Yeah, I did meet a lady in Arkansas at a gas station to get muscadines grapes, but
it was
also
super
thank
shady.
you, Lord, that I'm still living, because I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
this
She ended up being
lady,
very nice.
Oh, getting the ingredients you
Yeah,
need.
yes.
Oh, can be a little sketchy, apparently.
she's one of the nicest people, and you still talk to her
Yeah.
and all the time. But yeah, it was, throwing it out there on your blog, like, I can't get muscadines around here. Like, does anyone know where I could? And,
Wow.
And a lady in Arkansas was like, meet me at this gas station. and it was like
Ryan did go with me.
8 o'clock
Oh,
or 9
okay.
o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And we drive, like an hour and a half, 2 hours away, and meet at this gas station. And she gets out of her car and has this giant bag of muscadines. And it was like,
my.
this looks so shady.
But so these
Thank you.
are
Thank you.
these are black market muscadines. apparently.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there was a lot of really cool stuff, and it did. I mean, when you pray for something, it's, years ago I prayed for patience, and now I'm a teacher, so God is really listening.
God
so,
moves.
Yeah,
Hey.
God moves. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, you want patience? Here you go. Here's a
Yeah.
bunch of pre-K.
Yeah.
Here's
And
24-year-olds.
speaking of that, speaking of teachers, what a wonderful job you do
Thank
with
you.
our children. We are so grateful to have your love and your inspiration that pours out on our kids every day. And I mean, Justin and I can attest, we have children that have been in your class.
I've had two.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my Libby, man, when she heard I got to interview you today, oh, was she excited? She said she wanted to come. I was like, oh, unfortunately, unfortunately,
you,
no.
yeah.
But we are so grateful for what you do in this community for our children. You just pour out your passion on them, and you're part of raising them. I mean, people do not often look at it in that way, that teachers are truly helping to raise our children and give them that influence and that positivity that you pour out onto them. We're so grateful.
Especially
thank you.
in the pre-K time frame.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're giving
Yeah.
a good foundation.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
pre-K.
Well, and pre-K, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. And I do every year. I pray that God would put the kids in my class that need to be in my class. So
Yeah.
and I've been very blessed to have 3 between you guys, 3
Yeah.
children.
And
so-
Tyler says he's going back to your class next year.
Well, come on, Tyler. Come down
Yeah.
and visit.
He doesn't want to go to kindergarten.
I don't think-
He's already decided.
I don't think that Liberty realizes that's what's happening, that she's going to a different class.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only July, so just wait
Yeah,
a few more
I'm
weeks.
waiting to
her.
break it to her. For sure.
So fast forwarding in the story, I mean, that's incredible what God did with the cookbook in your life, and it's just amazing.
It
So
is.
fast forward to 2020. What happened in 2020?
Yeah, so 2020, which grand time for things to really come together.
yeah.
Missed a COVID, but I was off work. But yeah, so 2020, we find out that we're expecting again. And we're excited, and I think we still only waited about 7 weeks to tell our families, I think, and then we announced it, I think.
Are you
around-
together when you find out that you're pregnant? Are you together?
No.
No.
Oh.
Ooh, tell me about that. I
We
wanna
were
know.
not, and Ryan's a little salty about this. But
Can I just say this? She was with the person that she's closest with in the entire world, and that's her twin sister, not me.
Well.
yeah, so
Yikes.
yeah. Actually, I take a test because things, I'm thinking I may be, but kind of reserved about it. And so I take a test, and I like immediately, I'm not with my sister, but I text it to her, and I'm like, what do you think? Like, is it? What do you think? And she's like, oh my goodness, yes. And I'm like, do not tell Ryan I sent you this.
Full disclosure.
I understand why he might be a little salty. I'm just saying.
Then tell me, how'd you tell him?
I don't even remember. I mean, I honestly think you walked in and I just told you. Did it? Was it not?
That's true.
Because the first time, we had done a big deal with me telling, and this time I just thought, I'm excited. I don't care. Like, he's walking in, I'm like, we're having a baby. I really think that was.
And that was shock, and
Is it real?
Yeah, exactly.
And you're still in the back of your mind, like,
for sure.
That's the like really unfortunate thing about that is
the whole time you're thinking that.
Yeah. It's always.
We became best friends with a place in Owasso called Tiny Blessings, and they were like, "We just saw you last week," and I'm like, "Just check again.
Just check one more time."
That peace of mind scan kept us. We even tried the little app where you could like get it
do
on
it
your
yourself,
phone, and then I'm like, this is more stressful for me, because then if we don't hear something, we're like panicking, and it's just like a bad phone. We're trying to do this medical thing with our phone.
Yeah, that was like we're having an alien apparently, because when you try to use a sonar app
on your phone,
it
just sounds like noise.
It's not good.
But no, so and then I think it was about 12 weeks or so in, and we announced it to everybody, and
what was that like? The family and everybody. What was that like?
Oh, everybody cried. It was just, like he knew and my sister knew, and then we had told, his parents and my parents shortly after that, and then about 12 weeks in, we're telling everyone, and I did put it out. We did like this recipe deal, like something besides food's been cooking or whatever, and we put that out on my blog. And I don't think since I've had anything that got more like attention than that, because
they've been on the road with you, on the journey with you. People have been following and experiencing the ups and downs, and obviously maybe gaining a little weight with you.
So it was exciting. I mean, and then like I say, the whole time we were kind of just like, we weren't going to doubt it, but we were just kind of like, how excited are we going to get? And then each month went along, and it was like we kind of gained more.
He promised you.
Yeah,
he
exactly.
Did. He promised
and then
you.
we got to the point where I think about 26 weeks in or something, I had to start seeing a specialist every week, because there were things, and they switched me from one hospital to another just in case she came early, which she ended up coming a couple weeks early. But so then I was like driving to Tulsa for a weekly specialist visit, and so it was like, and there was one thing after another, but we were like, no, this is it. This is going to happen. If she's early, like whatever. Like that's not going to be a surprise to God. And this is it. This is going to be our.
So all in all, was it pretty much a normal, regular, healthy pregnancy, healthy baby, healthy mama?
Yeah, overall, I mean, it was during COVID, and I had got COVID, and I lost my taste and smell. Which, if hormones of pregnancy aren't enough and you're enjoying cooking, like...
COVID's great.
Let's go, COVID. Like, I don't want to taste anything anyway. Like, that way when I crave something, I can't have it. I actually lost weight during my pregnancy.
Oh, wow.
Because that. And I had gestational diabetes. And then there were a few things with my cord and stuff. But overall, like... And maybe it's because I was just so excited that this was happening, like...
None of that stuff mattered.
I was just like, whatever, it's fine. Yeah. Like, we're having a baby.
Yeah. Because there really were. I mean, when you say you lost your taste and smell,
for 2 years.
It was 2 years.
Oh,
that
wow.
She lost
my
theirs.
word.
Wow.
And, so that was... and then the gestational diabetes.
Was already limiting what I could eat. So I was like,
Yeah.
well, I got to eat something I could taste, but, well, you can't eat
So
that.
challenges within the challenge.
Yeah.
But, I mean, overall, like, I don't look back on it and think, I was like, I'm pregnant and happy.
Which, like you said earlier about, like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to tell you how it is. I'm going to do that now.
Oh, please.
Which, in a funny, loving way. But
Candid with Ryan.
Between the gestational diabetes and the taste and smell, you're going to
I know where he's going with this.
Yeah, so she had to really monitor, like, what she was eating, and then, even then, she couldn't taste what she was eating. And so, I remember there was, we were at Chick-fil-A, And actually, we were like eating in the car, I believe, and she had to get like a salad with, and she could only have a few of the chicken chunks because of the diabetes, and I was having like a sandwich and fries, and she's just looking at me, and she's basically just like, why are you eating that, and why are you getting to taste it? Like, this is not fair. And,
Absolutely.
I might have been a little cranky.
and,
You know, I'm cooking a tiny human, and I'm salivating right now.
And I'm eating salad.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But you enjoy that sandwich.
Yeah, I had to give her a hard time about that one. But it was like even those little hiccups in there, it's like that.
We'd been through 8 years of this. Like, whatever.
Oh,
we're getting there. We are getting to the finish line this time, and God is good, and we're not going to complain about chicken right now.
Yeah.
Even though we complained a little bit.
Okay, so you guys go through all the cooking, you go through all the things, you're going through
COVID.
Going through COVID, going through a kind of a wild pregnancy too.
Yeah.
But now the finish line. Tell us about your miracle.
You want this one or?
All I was going to say is the finish line actually moved on us.
Oh.
Ooh.
It got closer.
Ready or not, right?
Yeah. That's exactly. Yeah.
What, you mean like her due date and stuff?
Yes.
Or? Yeah. So she was
yes,
going to be, I think May 11th was her due date, and we ended up having her on April 23rd.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And you actually had the C-section because of complications.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so actually we were going to this place in Tulsa, and I always like to tease Ryan about this, that he helped rush Aniston along, because we parked and he wasn't sure. We went to the specialist, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're good, but go down for your appointment, like your pre-deal before the C-section or whatever." And so we park, and then I'm like, where are we going? And he's like, I'm not really sure. And so we walk, and I'm not kidding you, we walked a mile. So I'm like big pregnant, and,
Oh my.
and so we walk and we get in to the doctor's appointment, and I'm thinking we're just having a checkup and we're going back home. We have nothing with us. Like, one would think being that close we would have been prepared, especially waiting all this time. We were not prepared. And so we go in, and they're like, well, your blood pressure is a little bit high. And I said, well, I just walked a mile,
That's my fault. That's why her blood pressure's high.
And I'm like, so let's just, I didn't think anything of it or whatever. And so they're like, okay. So they're like, just stay like 30 minutes and we'll take it again. And they take it again. They're like, it's still high. Let's go ahead and go upstairs. We'll get you hooked up, and we'll just get it down
check
where it needs to be or whatever. And then, like, the next thing I know, there's someone coming in. They're like, so would you like to have a baby today? And I'm like,
wow.
yes.
Sure.
Do I need to have a baby today? And then we had to do a COVID test. Both of us had to do. I'm like, what are you going to do at this point if I do have COVID? Do I not have the
Nothing.
baby today? So that pushed it back by like 7 hours or something. At this point, we're like setting in, and we've like texted our family like, yeah, things are fine. And then the next text is like, hey, we're having a baby today.
Somebody
so you
get
guys,
my bag.
Yeah. They're like, do you have a backpack? No, just go through our closet. And that
Oh,
was
yeah.
just like a whole other thing, because it was hilarious what our parents brought us. But it made it fun. And then,
It was. I like how you said someone came in and said, are you ready to have a baby? It was a nun. Literally.
yeah.
Oh, really?
Like, we're seeing, nurses and
Yeah.
doctors, and mind you, she was a doctor, but I think.
We haven't seen her before, but
But so we're seeing all these
Servants of
people.
God?
Yes. And it's like just like you said, like, it was like, let's check this. Now let's check this. And all this time in between, and then all of a sudden, full-blown nun comes in and
says you want to have a baby. And we're
It's
like,
all, oh.
Yeah, exactly.
it
We're like,
was-
this was right.
it
Let's
was
do it.
wild.
Yeah. So, and then we went in and we had her, and she was like 5 pounds, but everyone was kind of worried she was going to be going to NICU, and that's why we were at a new hospital, and she was perfect as could be.
No.
We didn't have to do anything. Like,
That's awesome.
she was just in our arms, and then it was like she always belonged with us. So
everything you went through in those 8 years, all the bad news you went through, with the good news that when God would give you a word here or there to to build your faith and your encouragement. So tell me the culmination of all of that on that day. You said April 22nd,
23rd.
23rd, April 23rd, where you finally got to hold your baby. Tell me what's going through your mind, your emotions, everything. What's going on there?
I mean, he was crying like a baby.
I was.
For sure.
I was.
We have an amazing picture, just him just bawling. And of course, I mean, I'm stretched out on the table and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, and still just, they're like, you can hold your baby when you stop shaking. But no, it was just like immediate. I mean, we were overwhelmed and
Yeah.
excited. And like, it was just like, we knew you had this, God. Like, not
Yeah.
that, you know, God's timing is perfect, everyone says, but when you're going through it all, it's like, okay, God, but are we sure? Could we maybe change it? Like,
The
is there another
waiting.
perfect time?
Yeah.
But then when she was in our arms, it was just like, that
Yeah.
was it. It was just, I mean, and we were like,
All the
thanking
emotions.
God. Yeah, it was
Grateful, joyful, terrified.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
like-
because we went to the doctor that day just
Yeah.
to have an appointment, and then
Yes.
we're bringing home a baby 2 days later.
Yeah.
You know,
So that in itself, I've experienced that. My first child, same thing. Went for a checkup. Something just wasn't right. Went for a
Yeah.
checkup, and it was kind of same thing. They're like, "Guess what? We're having a baby today." Not prepared.
Yeah.
C-section. I was never thinking that was going to be the thing for me, and you know, you don't even have time to process.
Exactly.
You don't.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Here's your baby."
yeah, exactly. And you're like so happy, but you're like, what do I do with her? Like,
Yeah. I thought I had a few more days.
yeah. It's like I've been waiting 8 years, but just a few more days. would've been great.
Which, I don't know if it would have been better or worse
Yeah.
for us, really.
Yeah, I think it worked out
man,
perfect.
It
it
did
does.
work out
It really,
perfect.
it does. But in those moments, you're just like, "Oh wow, God, right now, okay."
It just
Yeah.
made sense,
Yeah.
you know. The whole journey, it made sense that it was not going to be just this like
He said his
scheduled
timing.
deal.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
and so and now we have a beautiful 4-year-old. I mean, she's going to be starting school this year, which is just crazy. So it's just,
Yay.
and we love to talk about this. I mean,
Mm.
it's just because it's a God story, and,
Yeah.
and
Truly.
I think
yeah.
you know it has to be shared. So thank you guys for letting us share it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can see his handprint, you know, through it all, and everything. What would you say for each of you? What would you say, looking back over the last 8 years, what was the hardest thing for you to have to endure through that? What was the most challenging thing? Would you say?
You want to go first, or?
You go first.
Well, I think for me, just being the woman, I think something that, and I haven't really even talked about it, but is just when something didn't go right, it was on me. And even though I knew he didn't feel that way, I knew I wasn't
Yeah.
meant to feel that way. But it's like, okay, well, when we're having a miscarriage, it's because my body couldn't do that. When it hasn't happened yet, it's because something's not right with me. And for years, you know, that's where I was. Even when I could hear other people telling me that's not true, and I internally, like, I knew it wasn't true, but that's just still,
It's hard to not
you know,
believe.
and I think I may have even said it to him at one point, like, you don't get it, like, it is me who is failing. And he never believed that, but I think for me, that was the biggest struggle of getting over that, of like, that's not true.
How did you get over that?
Lots of prayer and just, I don't even know. I mean, I guess that's all it would be, was just, and people constantly just being like, you can't think that way. You know, my
Probably.
sisters were a big part of that too, of just being like, that's not, there are so many things that go into this. You are going through plenty without taking that on too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that first off, it was like in the moment when she was born, like, it sounds so cliche, but like all that waiting and all that stuff just
Went away.
is like gone.
Yeah.
And then the incredible thing about that is that now, like, we can talk about all that, and we can hope that, like, God works through that and can help other people and encourage other people, and we're able to talk about that because we've, like, been on the other side, like,
Yeah.
but yeah, looking back on it, I think, actually one thing is kind of mirrors what Alyssa says, is that, like, seeing, like, having her feel that way, that it's all her fault, even medically it wasn't all her fault. Like we said early on, like, there were things from both of our sides but like, being in these situations and realizing that you, like, I can't, like, as much as I try, as much as I
can't
want
fix
to,
it.
as much as I smile, as much as, you know,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know, like, I can't fix this. And so and like I say, kind of maybe the hardest part was, not being able to fix it, but then especially during like the miscarriage, like I said earlier, like when you have like all this hope and like when you finally see what you believe is like the promise coming true, and you want to make every bit of that as perfect as you would hope for, and then have it removed, is unbelievably hard. Especially in the sense, like, I don't know, like, because I get pretty like sentimental about certain things, and it's like when it's like, okay, that's the first time we got to announce that we're pregnant. Like, that's the first time we got to see our family's reactions of hearing the news that we were going to have a baby, and then that doesn't get to come through. And that was incredibly hard. And
that whole situation is a devastating situation, and you still, I'm sure, mourn that loss. As parents. So
very much. And
I do get emotional during this part. For sure.
But then it's like, I mean, then you, like I say, you are on the other side of that now, and it's like, it's okay, And like, we have Anderson here with us, and and we do have other babies, that we'll get to meet, and so
there,
hopefully,
there is purpose in the pain, and God uses your situation to give somebody else that hope that you guys held on to for so long, to give them that push, and oftentimes we don't see it when we're in the middle of it. Like, what are you doing here, God? What, this whole timing thing that you talk about in your time, I want it now, but he uses your struggle and your pain and your waiting to show somebody that he can still move. He is still with us, and he can still move, and miracles happen every day. And so how wonderful that you guys have your little miracle.
We do, and she is a blessing for sure to everyone.
That is awesome.
Around her. So, and that's why we share this. I mean, even when I was asked to come on here, like, I thought, why? Like, what can I say that I haven't already said? It feels like, I mean, she's 4 years old now. We went through that struggle, and sometimes it feels so far in the past, but we constantly get that reminder that someone else is in it right now. And I think our biggest thing is that we don't want anyone to feel like no one else has been through it. And, we want you to know it's coming. Your miracle's coming, and to stay there.
So speaking of, that was going to be my next question is, because there's plenty of people out there that are going through that right now, maybe have been to the doctor and found out the worst of the worst, right? This is not happening. There's no way, and hear those negative comments and all that. What do you say to people that are in the thralls of the hopelessness right now? What encouragement do you have to offer them?
Well, I always say, and something that was always spoke to me is like, the world tells you a lot of things are impossible. But we serve the God of possible, and that is something that I have heard so much, and that's something I always want to share. Like, you don't have to receive that news, and yes, there may be things that you need to do to get to your miracle, and God will lead you in that, but nothing is impossible with God. And so that's just my biggest thing. Surround yourself with people that are going to be
believers, encouragers.
Like, someone's going to come in and say, well, I guess you're going to have to do that then, and just say, well, I don't want you praying for me. Surround yourself with people who are believing with you and who can meet you in your moment, but also like go with you as you get your miracle.
Yeah. That's awesome. Ryan, how about you?
Yeah, I don't know how to say anything better than what you just said, but I will say that in the process, when people would come up and they'd hear about, the struggle, and we can laugh about it now, but it would go like one of two ways. Someone might say, oh, well, we waited a year for our baby. And we're like,
We're on year 8.
Yeah, it's like, well,
It's very helpful.
I know it's not. I know it's not a competition or anything.
Exactly. But you felt like that, and so you'd feel like, it's kind of like
Yeah.
that. Well, I remember 1 year.
Yeah.
Wait till you get to 6. Wait till you get to 7. Wait till you get to.
Yeah.
And then the flip side of it is, we had people that said, well, we waited 14 years, and then we're like, we don't want to wait.
Yeah.
14 years, like we don't need 6 more years of this,
Yeah.
and so it's like wherever you're at, even if we can feel like, oh, we understand, like we know, we know what you're going through. Well, we don't, even if our story sounds so similar to like what someone's going through right now, we understand that we're different, and people are dealing with things in different ways. And so, but then, immediately go back to what Alyssa said,
Surround yourself.
Yeah,
with
surround
praying
yourself.
people.
And like,
believers.
Yeah, and even if your story is a little different, like, the outcome, like God writes the stories, but even more so than that, He writes the ending.
Yeah.
And that's victory. And so, like,
no matter what.
Yeah, no matter what all these pages leading up to, the end of your promise is, like, just know that you're going to get there. And so, if
and it will be worth it.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. That is truly, your story is inspiring. Not a lot of marriages survive this. Not a lot of them do, and just that in itself, that you guys went through that together and you came out on the other side, is wonderful. And we truly thank you for sharing and being with us today.
So what does it? One last question. What does it look like now for your family? What now? What's next for you guys?
I don't know if we have any like big goals we're going for or anything. I mean, maybe you do. I don't know, but just
we're going to Disney World.
No, but I mean, she's 4 years old now. We're getting to the point where we can do more things with her.
Yeah.
We can take her and let her experience the things that we loved before having her, and the things that got us to having her. We can take her to experience those things. She just went out to North Carolina with us, and I did not realize how sentimental that'd be for me after being out there so much through the process of trying to have her, and then her being out there and hanging out with some of the people that were such a big part of that. And
there's something to being able to show this was not supposed to be possible.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Here,
yeah, it's just
and
I think
awesome.
when we look at it overall, it's just like, I think our biggest goal right now is just raising a baby who loves Jesus.
Yeah.
And she does, and just like
living.
teaching her, just enjoying the little moments. I mean, I bought an $18 pool the other day, and we had the best day of our life in it. Like, just appreciating every little thing that we get to experience was something that was such. I mean, she's just here now, and we're living. And I think for me, that's just all I want.
Do you tell her? That you waited for her?
Well, sometimes there's just been times where I'm like, well, Mommy and Daddy waited, a long time for you, and she knows God made her, and we talk about that. And so it's just getting to see that. And I mean, people tell us that, like, she's, she's a gift from God, and they can see that in her already. And I think as parents, like, that's really all you can ask for,
right? Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Ryan, Alyssa, you guys are amazing.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys coming on, telling your story, being vulnerable and open with everything, and letting the community know a little bit more about you, about your story, and providing a glimmer of hope in somebody's life that really needs it right now. I'm sure that this will reach the ears of the people who need to hear it, and remind them that they're not forgotten, and that God still has a plan for them, and to keep going, don't give up, and keep going.
Yeah.
Cynthia, this was a good one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you guys again. We really appreciate it. And Center Stage Community Podcast is where we give the community the center stage.